In today's video, we are going to talk about what research is and why it matters. A lot of the time, people don't like introductory anything. Many people just find them abstract and not very useful. The reason why I'm doing this is because if you don't know what research is and what people expect of your research, it will be much harder for you to do it. So the aim of this video is to give you a clear idea of what your research should look like, what it should accomplish. And that's it. So I hope it's really clear for you, and I will try to give you some practical tips on how to do it. So in applied sciences and social sciences, what we are trying to do most of the time is to solve a problem or contribute towards a certain issue. So in a simple, plain world, we have a problem and we would find a solution, which would be the solution. And that would be it. Goodbye. No more problems, no more issues. The thing is, reality is complex. So, for example, if you want to know how you can make workers in companies happier and more productive, which is like a favorite topic in organizational sciences that I work with. So is there one solution for that, or does it depend? Does it depend? Spoiler alert, it depends. So it really depends on what your company is doing, where it is operating, what are the characteristics of the people in terms of gender, age, backgrounds, etc., interests, priorities. It depends on the organizational culture. It depends on whether or not you are in a war, for example. That can have a significant impact on how happy and productive your workers are. So, because problems are complex, you in a scientific, realistic view, you know that you're not going to solve the problem. You're going to contribute towards solving the problem, or you're going to give pointers that can help people, but you know that you are limited in the way that you can contribute to a certain problem. So what you do is here's the key word is you contribute. So this contribution can be a better understanding of a problem. You can give a unique viewpoint or find a perspective that no one else has thought about, or you can find new ways to look at the problem, because depending on the way that we look at the problem, the solutions that we find are different, so the implications are clear. You can try to figure out if a certain strategy towards dealing with a certain issue, if it works or not, and if it works with a certain subset of the population, for example. And you can even help foresee what's coming next. So what are the next challenges that we should be preparing for? So when you have a complex problem, and if you're going to be realistic and truthful about it, you cannot expect to solve the problem. You're going to contribute towards it. Because you are contributing and you have limitations, because, alas, we are human, your research should clearly state the limitations that you have. And it should provide clues for the next people that are going to research the problem. What should be done next? What avenues would you suggest into studying what you are dealing with? Okay? So this is relevant because generating knowledge is a collaborative effort. And this is the main reason why it's so important to write papers and publish your research. And this is why we bother to go through this process, which can be infuriating at times. So, how do you do research? What's the process? The process is you find a gap in the knowledge, arguably the most relevant part of your research, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in the next slide. But so you find the gap in the knowledge and you formulate a question, and this is your research question. So this is what you're trying to solve, the question that you're trying to find an answer to. How do you solve things in a scientific manner? You gather data, you analyze the data, and then you communicate your findings in the most transparent way possible. When you answer the question, you comment your answer. So you will say, what are the, is this answer that I found, it's applicable to whom, it serves what purpose, and what does it not do? What are the limitations of my study, and what can others do next? What are the implications of the study for practice and research, for example? Okay, does this make sense? So this is the process. It's not really so hard, right? And I would argue that good research is really transparent about this. The complexities of research should come from the complexities of the subject. Research should not be labyrinthical, it should be really straightforward. We found this problem. We are asking this specific question. We are going to try to solve this question, to answer this question by collecting this and this data and doing these and these tests. And then you find the results and you say, okay, these results were as we expected, or these results are completely different from what we expected. And you should comment on why you think both things happened. And then, of course, finish with implications and limitations and future research. Okay? So, last but not least, finding a research topic. Finding a research topic is arguably one of the most important things you will do in your research. Because if your question is irrelevant, no matter how hard you have worked at it, does the answer matter, right? So if the question doesn't matter, well, then what are we doing actually? So how do you do this? There are many ways that you can find a question, but I would suggest that you start by brainstorming some areas of interest, that you think about the subjects that make you curious or issues that you feel passionate about, and consider current events, gaps in the literature, and areas that could benefit from fresh perspectives. One important source of information on this is the existing literature. So what do we already know? Has your question already been answered or not? And if someone has tackled it, what are the future research avenues that they suggest? Have they left something out that you would like to tackle? So this is really important to know, and this is why doing a good literature review is so relevant. So remember, effective research is not just about collecting facts, it's about asking the right questions, being critical, and aiming to add value to the academic and real-world landscapes. And I hope this was useful for you.